Is everybody online? It's online, I guess we don't know those that aren't, so I think we've reached the appointed hour, so I want to call the meeting to order. Cobb is online as well, and he's more or less deferred the meeting. He wasn't sure whether he was going to be here or not for the meeting, so he deferred the chairmanship to me for this meeting. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll for quorum considerations?
Yes. City of Carlsbad? You guys hear me?
John, is it? I just barely hear you.
All right. City of Carlsbad?
City of Carlsbad, John Heaton, present.
City of Hobbs?
City of Hobbs, Sam Croft, present.
Eddy County?
City of Hobbs.
Eddy County?
Mitch Smith is also here.
Okay, thank you. Eddy County, Susan Crockett,
Bo Bowen.
and Lee County.
Lee County, Jonathan Senna, present.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay, we do have a quorum, so we will call the meeting to order. And the first item on the agenda is the approval from our previous meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I entertain a motion.
Move to approve Jonathan Senna, Lee County.
Okay, Jonathan Senna is approved. Is there a second?
I will second. This is Susan Crockett, Eddy County.
Susan seconds. Is there any further discussion? Not opposition to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. I guess we need to call roll. I'm sorry. So Susan, will you call roll on the motion?
Yes. City of Carlsbad?
John Heaton, yes.
City of Hobbs?
City of Hobbs, Sam Croft, yes.
Eddy County?
Bo Bowen, abstain.
Susan Crockett, yes. And Lee County?
Lee County, Jonathan Senna, yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to need to get past that region code protocol there. So, are there any comments from any of the directors? If not, let me make a comment about the whole tech project that all of us are very interested in and committed to. The bill from Senator Steinborn in the Senate has passed all of the two committees and moved across. The Senate has passed it, and it's moved over to the House, where it has passed. The bill was passed in its first committee, and it's now been carried, and it is on the agenda for today. It's the last item, so it's doubtful that they will get to it. There are several controversial bills on the agenda, but it most likely will then get rolled over to Friday. The situation is rather unbelievable, in my opinion, that the legislature would pick and choose an economic development project. And the beginning of all this has been about 4 years ago, when Steinborn became chairman of the Hazardous Waste Committee and has used that platform to pass out what I would call misinformation about this project and a considerable amount of fear mongering, and has brought a number of people in testify and test erroneous information. As an example, he brought in at one committee hearing a couple of years ago a person from the railroad that represents the engineers and what have you, conducting Santa Fe traffic, and had the audacity to say that nobody is trained. And that couldn't be further from the truth. He may not be trained, but persons that will be operating the train, that will be a dedicated train, having 10 or 12 payload cars, a security car on the end, and 2 engines to assure that the dedicated trains move directly down the track to its destination, are heavily trained. The NRC inspects the train for it, and the Department of Transportation is involved in that, and the NRC is involved in the routing. The train will not be able to go more than 50 miles an hour on the very best track in the country, and between Clovis and Carlsbad will be limited to 25 miles an hour. The purpose of that is to prevent the physics of it preventing a disaster impact. The NRC even says that if a cask is thrown off the train, burned in fuel, that it will not breach, and the chances of a breach are 1 in 10 trillion. I defy you to get closer to 0 than that. So the NRC, in what they do in terms of the facility and also the transportation and casks, and they design facilities to eliminate as much human error as they possibly can, and that's why they over-engineer many times the casks and the facility itself. So that is how they operate, and they are the best regulators in the world. But I just wanted to comment on that because there's just a lot of misinformation has been built, and it creates a lot of, his whole objective is to create fear and get the bill rejected or get the bill passed, which is, there are 2 provisions in there. One, that we would have to, there would have to be an operating repository before the facility could be, and the other is that it has to have consent by the state. Well, we had consent. We had consent from Governor Martinez. She wrote a letter to the NRC and other folks explaining that she supported the project strongly. That was in 2015. In 2016, the legislature, both the House and the Senate, passed an ordinance project. So from Holtec's perspective, and our perspective, we had consent. And on top of that, Holtec has now spent around $80 million going through the NRC process, which we expect to have a license either by the end of this month or sometime early next month. So it is really discouraging that the legislature is not really digging into the facts. Our delegation in Southeast New Mexico has done a great job, and they are trying to explain the facts and challenge the portions of the bill and preempted by the federal government. And there are also parts of the bill related to not being able to, the state to permit it. And the permitting aspect are also preempted by the Atomic Energy Act to protect for any nuclear materials of which this has. And so we think that both of these things are preempted legally, and we may end up in a legal battle. I don't know. We hope we can kill it on the House floor, and so that's more or less the status of where we are. I doubt that we can kill it in the judiciary, but we've been working hard. Members, primarily Democrat members, because they're the ones that have to join with the Republican members to kill the bill. So that is kind of a synopsis of where we are. And any of you that have friends or know yourself any Democrats in the House, please contact them to vote against this bill. Don't also let me or Sam know what, who you contacted and what their position is. It would really be helpful. So we're working hard on that at this point. So that's all really all I have to look forward in terms of where we are with Senate Bill 53. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer. Hearing none, we'll move on. So the next item on the agenda is the financial report. Melissa?
Good morning, Chairman. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I will provide a brief summary of the Eddy-Lea financials as of December 2022, the sixth period of fiscal year 2023. There was a beginning cash balance of $72,810 and an ending cash balance of $116,201. Eddy-Lea received $75,000 from member contributions. The expenditures of $31,609 are favorable to the $120,000 budget. During quarter 2 of FY23, the following amounts have been paid: $14,622.18 to Montgomery and Andrews, and $154.38 to Wex Bank. And that will conclude my summary, and I stand for any questions.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Eaton, I have a question.
I see those was collected. Could you tell us who has not paid?
It's Lee County that hasn't paid.
Okay, we'll make sure we get that in.
Okay, and let us know if you need an invoice.
We would really appreciate it.
Yes, sir, we'll have that.
Something that the county may need. Do you need an invoice? Do you need?
Let me check with staff, but we'll get that in.
Okay, and then
We'll get that on the agenda and get that voted in.
if you need anything, let Melissa know, and we'll get you any paperwork you need to allow you to pay the bill. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Are there any questions about the financial statement and or the bills that have been paid? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable that Melissa outlined. Is there a motion to do so?
We approve Jonathan Senna, Lee County.
Is there a second?
Second, Sam Croft.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? If not, Madam Secretary, if you call the roll.
City of Carlsbad.
City of Carlsbad, John Heaton, yes.
City of Hobbs.
City of Hobbs, Sam Croft, yes.
Eddy County.
Bo Bowen, Yes.
Lee County.
Lee County, Jonathan Center, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I failed to recognize Commissioner Bowen. Thank you very much for being online and participating. We congratulate you on your newly elected office, and those really engaged in what's going on with the county. And thank you for being the county member. We really do appreciate that. Thank you, Bo.
Thank you, happy to be here.
So the next item is the audit by Better and Company. Are you online?
Yes, sir, this is Farley. You can hear me okay?
Great, Farley, yes. Would you summarize the audit that you conducted?
Yes, I can share the screen, and I have a very summarized PowerPoint. So I'm going to switch that over. And here are the results of the 2020 audit. So I am Farley from Equal Managers. I'll present this. And just to explain the scope of our work, we give an opinion on the financial statements. And there are state audit rule requirements we follow as well. And then when we put together financial statements, that's non-audit work that we do. The results of the audit, the financial statements is an unmodified or clean opinion. So in other words, you believe the numbers that are being presented in that report are materially correct. And finding-wise, there are no findings to report. So last year there were no findings, this year no findings. And then we just have some financial statement trends to look at. And we see the assets at 1.3 million. We'll explain why that number went up from prior year. And liabilities also increased. So the equity's just a little bit higher than last year at $1,074,000. Here's the details of the increase on the assets. So a new accounting standard. GASB 87 was implemented, and therefore leases, whether it's a lease, you're leasing, you're the lessor or you're the lessee, that now is becoming, it gets capitalized. So you have a lease receivable of $235,000. They didn't have it prior years because of the new rule. So that's the main change. Cash, you can see, is a little higher than last year, just depending on the year where cash is sitting. On the liability side, the deferred inflows, that's related to the leases. So in effect, you have a lease receivable, and then it's offset by a liability related to the leases. So it's just putting these on the financial statements, is tracking them. The net effect was about $2,000. Accounts payable, a little bit, you can just see how that relates to, or a little bit higher than the prior year. Equity, so the equity, as we noted, it's all unrestricted. There's no other categories of equity. It's $1,074,000. And profit and loss statement, or a change in that position, revenues at $116,000, expenses at $79,000, so positive $37,000 and change. The detail of the revenue, the big difference this year was $100,000 in capital contributions from members. Rental income was a little higher than last year, and you had some miscellaneous revenue. Expenses, pretty consistent with prior year. And then moving on. Compare year over year, so just see where the changes were. Yeah, miscellaneous revenue, miscellaneous expense, so that was the largest change. Not, these aren't large numbers, so. And cash flow, cash went up as we had seen, as we saw before, $40,000 increase. And that's it. That's our presentation. I can stand for any questions.
Are there any questions by members? Carly, could you go to the end of your audit on, I guess, page 23 and 24, and summarize that for the
Yes.
board?
Melissa, do you have that audit up, or do you want me to pull that up? Because I have to kind of find that. I thought you already had it available.
Yeah, I have it up.
Okay.
If you'll just stop sharing your screen, I think it'll pop back up for them.
Okay, I thought you could take over from the sharing. Is that, did you just share it and just take over, or?
I don't know how to on this computer.
I'll stop sharing.
Well,
There I go.
No, what do I know?
let me maybe just summarize it. Do you have that? Because I think it is kind of the crux of what the board is interested in your observations and your audit. And I think when we talk about the three basic areas, is there any material weakness identified? And your answer is no. Is there any significant deficiency that they're not considered to be a material weakness? And the answer is no. And is there any non-compliant material to the financial statements noted? And the answer is no to that. So the bottom line is, from my perspective, is that we have a clean audit. And I think because we have so few transactions, he can look at every one of them. And so understand the differences. Harley, can I comment? I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I agree, that's correct. So, yeah, it's very clean. It's an unmodified clean opinion, and there's no findings of any sort. And as you were pointing out, there are different types of findings, different levels and magnitudes, but there are no findings to report.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the audit.
If not, I move to approve the audit. Go ahead, or Jonathan.
And I'll second Jonathan Senate, we can.
Okay. Is there any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. Madam Secretary, would you call up?
Yes, City of Carlsbad.
City of Carlsbad, John Heaton, yes.
City of Hobbs.
Eddie Hall, Sam Cobb, yes.
Eddy County.
Eddy County, Bo Bowen, yes.
Lee County.
Lee County, Jonathan Senate, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. It's passed unanimously. The next item is to approve the audit services for the next year, the next fiscal year, 23-24. Melissa, would you talk to us about what the charges are? They're the same. Can we continue with Farley and Hinkle? Can we consider with their?
Yes, the price should
Continue with that
stay
one?
about the same. My recommendation is that we stick with Hinkle and Landers. The city of Carlsbad is also using them, and it would be easier for me to use one auditor. This will be the last year that the city can use them, and we'll have to switch for a year. So next year, we'll consider switching to a different audit service.
Okay. Are there any questions for Melissa? If not, I would entertain a motion to the Equal Landers auditing firm.
Move to approve Johnson Center, Lee County, and thank you for your help, Melissa. We appreciate all that you do for us.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Dan Cobb, City of Hobbs, second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Yes. City of Carlsbad,
City of Carlsbad, John Heaton, yes.
City of Hobbs,
City of Hobbs, Dan Cobb, yes.
Eddy County,
Eddy County, Bo Bowen, yes.
and Lee County.
Lee County, Johnson Center, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, that motion passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is to approve the budget for 2023-24. So Melissa, would you mind going over that? It's in the last page of your packet.
Oh, I can't figure out how to bring it up. I'm sorry, I can't figure out how to bring it up, but, so we're projecting that the, ending cash balance for FY '23, so the beginning, cash balance for FY '24 will be $104,700. I left the member contributions at $25,000 apiece, and the land lease at $11,000. So we're looking at estimated revenue of $111,000. And for expenditures, I left those all the same as last year for a total of $120,000. And if there is any changes, I can also make those. Projected ending cash with that budget would be $95,700.
Are there any questions about the budget? Any questions about contribution levels from our members? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the budget for 23-24.
Dan Cobb, Hobbs, I make that motion.
Is there a second?
Bo Bowen, Eddy County.
Thank you, Bo. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
City of Carlsbad,
City of Carlsbad, John Heaton, yes.
City of Hobbs,
City of Hobbs, Dan Cobb, yes.
Eddy County,
Eddy County, Bo Bowen, yes.
Lee County.
Lee County, Johnson Center, yes.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
thank you very much. The motion passes unanimously. We've now reached the point, Matt, is there any other comment?
Mr. Maxwell, John, Mr. Maxwell's here.
Is Mr. Maxwell there?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. My name is Nick Maxwell, and I'm here today to express much discontent with the operations of this board. I do want to express satisfaction and happiness with the job that the Carlsbad employees have done for us. Kept things clean down here, so I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome you both. Welcome to politics. I don't know if you've been in it before, but you may have stepped into something that's not very politically great for you. I know Wes came about this time last year from Carlsbad, and he ain't been back since. I think he's still a board member too. Stephen never showed up when he was put on the board, which I thought was pretty disrespectful to the people of his county. That's his decision, so I'm a minute in, I got 2 minutes left, and I I'd like to just tell you that there was a letter sent to the President of the United States from this organization that was never put on an open meeting agenda. There's been twice in the past where federal agencies were informed of the opinion of this board, and this board had in an open meeting approved resolutions, but had not done so for this letter to the President that was dated originally, it was December 8th, then it got moved to December 20th, and then it was approved by the City of Hobbs and Lee County, never approved by any of the other public bodies that were on that letter, including City of Carlsbad and Eddy County, but primarily the Eddy-Lea Energy Alliance has a quorum of its directors on that letter, which never approved of this letter in an open meeting. And I just want to say that I think it's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. John, you've been passing that letter to the legislature, and you've been misleading them, telling them that everybody signed that letter. Not everybody signed that letter. John Henry didn't sign that letter. Lisa Ann Flores didn't sign that letter. My commissioner, Rebecca Long, didn't sign that letter. In my last 45 seconds here, I'm just going to say that I think it was a crime what happened there. I think it was a forgery. I think the fact that they took some of the information off, like you were a public board member, Susan, it looks like you're a commissioner on that letter, and I don't think that you approved that, but that's another thing that I just think that was horrible, and Holtec did that. Employees of Holtec did that. I'm not happy about that. And I object. I want this organization dissolved. I think that legislation going through is going to be good for this community. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maxwell. All right, Mr. Chairman, there is
Any other public comment?
nobody in the audience. Oh, sorry, John Waters, CEO of the Carlsbad Department of Development.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is John Waters. I'm the Executive Director for the Carlsbad Department of Development. I want to personally thank each and every one of you for the hard work and time that you've put into this project. As you know, we've been very interested in this project proceeding. We think it's good for all of southeastern New Mexico. It's good for New Mexico as a whole, and it's good for the country. And we're still supporting it. We look forward to the hearing, if it's be it today or Friday, and we will be there to support it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Is there any other public comment? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, Jonathan Center, Lee County.
Second.
There's a second.
Eddy County.
So, Madam Chairman, would you call the roll?
City of Carlsbad,
City of Carlsbad, John Heaton, yes.
City of Hobbs,
City of Hobbs, Sam Cobb, yes.
Eddy County,
Eddy County, Bo Bowen, yes.
Lee County.
Lee County, Jonathan Center, yes.
Okay, thank you
Thank you all.
very much. Have a good one. Excuse me, Mark. To the Eddy-Lea Alliance, thank you everybody for being online and being here. Appreciate it.
Good day,
Thank you.
Thank you.